Old Ellen DeGeneres clips are disappearing from the internet, and it's not a glitch. Someone is actively pulling them down.
These are videos that sat online for years, completely untouched. Now they're getting blocked, geo-restricted, or hit with copyright claims that appeared out of nowhere long after the original uploads. Jim Caviezel says he knows exactly what's going on, and his answer will make you look at every one of those old clips completely differently. Quick background for anyone new here. Jim Caviezel is the actor who played Jesus in The Passion of the Christ. He later starred in Sound of Freedom, a film built around real child rescue operations. Once that movie dropped, Caviezel became one of the loudest voices in Hollywood, speaking out about exploitation, and that did not make him popular.
Mel Gibson directed The Passion of the Christ, and the two have been close for years.
Gibson has made his own public statements about what happens to people in Hollywood who speak out of turn. That's exactly why his name keeps surfacing alongside Caviezel's in this story. Now, Ellen DeGeneres ran her talk show for nearly 2 decades. Her entire brand was built on 2 words: be kind. The show ended in 2022 after a workplace misconduct scandal broke wide open, and she's kept a low profile ever since. But since the Epstein files started coming out, people went back through old Ellen footage looking for anything that hits differently now than it did back then. That search is what cracked this whole thing open. And none of this is happening in isolation. Diddy's federal case pulled back the curtain on how the entertainment industry shields its most powerful names. That renewed attention is exactly why old daytime TV clips are suddenly getting a second look from millions of people who weren't paying attention the first time.
So here's the specific claim. Videos from the Ellen DeGeneres show, clips that sat online for years without a single flag, are now being scrubbed.
Geo-blocked in certain countries, hit with copyright strikes that showed up long after anyone would normally bother filing them. That last part is what's strange. Copyright claims almost always move fast. A video goes up, a rights holder spots it, and it's down within hours or days. That's how the system works, because rights holders are watching from the moment content is posted. What's happening with these Ellen clips doesn't follow that pattern at all. So ask yourself the obvious question. Why now? Why these specific clips, and not the thousands of other Ellen videos still sitting online without a single strike against them?
Jim Caviezel has an answer, and it's not one that anyone in the entertainment industry wants spreading.
These clips didn't vanish overnight. They sat out in the open for years, racking up millions of views and shares until something changed. Then, almost at once, they started coming down. That kind of sudden, targeted removal doesn't happen on a normal content schedule. When platforms or legal teams move fast like that, it usually means someone finally noticed something they didn't want noticed. Routine moderation is slow and consistent. What happened here was the opposite, rushed and specific. That's not housekeeping, that's containment. Jim Caviezel talked about what happened during the screenings for Sound of Freedom.
During the 5 screenings, each screening, there was a talking going on. And I was like watching the audience going, what? The second time it happened. Again, third time, talking in this one particular spot. And I'm thinking, what, did we do something wrong or something? But so then one more time it happened. At the end, I was asking about the movie, and I asked him about that one particular part where everybody's talking, and they all cried out Epstein Island. And I went, oh, okay.
He described watching the audience react at the exact same moment, every single screening, in the exact same spot. He kept wondering if something was wrong with the film. Then at the end of one of those screenings, he finally asked the audience what was making them react that way. And they all shouted the same 2 words, Epstein Island.
Now I understand what we're up against.
Wow.
Epstein Island isn't the only sex island out there. And Tim Ballard takes down one of the film.
And I think Americans understand that they also have precious pearls in their children, and they don't want them taken. And they're looking at the government now going, what are you doing? What are the 3 letter agencies doing? They're not doing their job, especially when 85,000 children crossed the border this last year and disappeared. Where did they disappear to?
Caviezel didn't stop there. He pointed out that Epstein's Island wasn't the only one. He brought up Tim Ballard, and he spoke directly to American parents, saying they understand what's at stake because their children are the ones at risk. He said people are looking at the government and asking why 3-letter agencies aren't doing their job. He brought up the 85,000 children who crossed the border that year and simply disappeared. Now, Caviezel isn't some anonymous person pushing a theory online. He's a working Hollywood actor with decades in the business, and he keeps speaking publicly even knowing what it costs him. That's what makes the clip people always bring up next hit even harder.
Sandra Bullock appeared on Ellen's show to talk about her skincare routine. Straightforward daytime television, or at least that's how it started.
When the conversation turned to one specific treatment, Bullock seemed almost reluctant to say it out loud herself. Ellen filled in the blank for her, right there in front of the studio audience. The treatment used foreskin from a Korean baby as part of a microneedling facial.
Okay, let's talk about this facial that you're obsessed with. How many, did you get the whole cast of Ocean's 8 to do this?
Not everybody.
Okay, good, smart ones.
Just those that I thought would appreciate it.
Okay, explain what it is.
Well, it's this way in which one forces through microneedling. It's like a little roller with these, some of you, I think many of you know it, and it pushes through the skin and ruptures the collagen and then boosts it. You look like a burn victim for a day, but then it pushes.
The clip exists. It aired on television. Bullock described the process in detail, explaining how the roller ruptures the collagen and forces product into the skin. She joked that she didn't get the entire cast of Ocean's 11 to do it, just the ones she thought would appreciate it. Ellen laughed. The audience laughed. But people watching that clip today are not laughing. They're asking a completely different set of questions. And once you hear those questions, the casual tone of that segment starts to feel a lot less comfortable. The names kept changing. Sarah, Sandra, Carrie, back and forth, stumbling, like the guest couldn't quite land on the right word. And then she described the treatment she was getting on her face, and things got genuinely strange. She hesitated. She circled around it. She said it came from a young person, far away, and that someone had figured out how to extract it.
What are you pushing into the skin, Sandra?
Sarah?
Carrie, what are you pushing into the skin?
Well, you push in whatever the facialist would like to insert into your pores.
But what is it?
It is an extraction from a piece of skin that came from a young person far, far away, and they somehow figured out how to extract.
It's foreskin from a Korean baby.
The host finished the sentence for her on live television in front of a full studio audience. Korean baby. The crowd laughed and laughed, and then the show just moved on. Strip away the laughter and sit with what actually happened there. A guest struggled to describe something, the host named it out loud, and nobody blinked. That's the part people keep coming back to now. Not the clip itself, but how casually it was swallowed.
Daytime TV has always chased shock to keep seats warm, so weird moments got filed away as weird moments.
But people are looking at old footage differently now. Survivors have testified in court. There is documented evidence that wealthy circles had a serious obsession with youth, with things taken from young bodies. That stopped being a fringe idea the moment it showed up in a courtroom. One speaker pushed further. He described a natural form and a synthetic form, and said the natural version comes from putting children through extreme stress to spike their adrenaline before extracting it. He said he'd brought this up years before and got buried for it.
It is absolutely listed. It's been around in modern science since the 1930s. You can actually, there's a synthetic form and there's a regular natural form, which is caused by torturing little kids to get their adrenaline up, essentially, and then extracting it from them.
His agents went silent. He didn't hear from his agency for 14 days after he spoke publicly. So the question sitting underneath all of this is a simple one. What if that clip on the talk show was never really a joke? What if the laughter was the whole point? Training an audience to hear something disturbing and feel nothing, to smile right through it.
When you sit and so I brought this up a few years ago, and all of a sudden I was attacked by every media. Look it up, it's there. They absolutely went after me. And the next day, I never heard from my agents, my agency.
That clip is now one of the ones being flagged and scrubbed, which raises its own question. What's in the footage they're working hardest to erase? Jim Caviezel didn't quietly disappear after Sound of Freedom came out. He went the opposite direction. He said he personally reached out to major entertainment figures, people sitting on massive platforms, and asked them directly to speak up about. He wanted them to use their reach the way he was using his. His message was blunt. People assume this doesn't happen here. It does. He put a number on it. Over 300,000 children under 18 pulled into what he called the deepest recesses of hell.
People think that that's not something that happens here in the United States. Well, absolutely it does. Over 300,000 children under the ages of 18 were sucked into the deepest recesses of hell, and it's disgusting that the media hasn't covered it like they should. There obviously is really good media like yourself, but
And he said the media's silence on it was nothing short of disgusting. Most major media personalities said nothing. Daytime hosts with millions of viewers every single day, people who could move a national conversation with one segment, stayed completely quiet. Caviezel noticed, and he said so publicly. The industry's answer to that wasn't debate, it was a label. They called him a conspiracy theorist, the exact same tag they stuck on Mel Gibson years before.
Others that completely ignore it, and I think people need to understand, American people are starting to understand what is actually going on and are sick and tired of it.
That's how the play works. You don't have to fight someone's argument if you can get people to stop listening before the argument even starts. Call someone a name loud enough and long enough, and most of the audience tunes out automatically. But here's the thing about Caviezel. He already knew what speaking up was going to cost him. This is a man who played Jesus Christ on screen, fully aware it would damage his standing in Hollywood. He then watched Sound of Freedom get suppressed by studios with direct ties to Harvey Weinstein. A man who's been through all of that doesn't flinch at name-calling. He didn't go quiet, he went louder. He also made his position on fear crystal clear. More Christians. These modern-day Christians are more afraid of the devil than they are of God. Let me explain. God could kill the devil without a glance. The devil has no chance against God. This isn't God here and the devil here. It's more like, here's a creature devil. Here's a creature human. I'm going to ask Almighty to come into me and to not be afraid.
More Christians, these modern day Christians, are more afraid of the devil than they are of God. Let me explain. God could kill the devil without a glance. The devil has no chance against God. This isn't it, God here and the devil here, Jesus here and the devil here. It's this.
He pointed out that scripture says, do not be afraid, 365 times. Once for every single day of the year. Now the story shifts, because beyond the coded jokes and the elite connections, there's something else, something that came directly from people who worked on the show and from guests who experienced it firsthand. And it starts with Selena Gomez.
It's more like, here's a creature, devil, here's a creature, human. I'm going to ask Almighty to come into me and to not be afraid. In Scripture, 365 times, one time every day in the Bible, says, do not be afraid.
She appeared on the program and discovered live, on camera, in front of an audience, that there were hidden cameras installed inside a private bathroom in her dressing room. Not rumored, not alleged. She described it herself in real time. So in my dressing room, you have the bathroom with the cameras. So I put towels all over the camera and I went and peed in Kobe Bryant's dressing room because I was scared.
Something?
Yes, what?
So I thought that you were gonna scare me when I came in. I don't know why. So in my dressing room, you have the bathroom with the cameras. So I put towels all over the cameras, and I went and peed in Kobe Bryant's dressing room because I was scared.
Well, you're right. I was trying to scare you.
Really?
You got here an hour early, and I was trying to scare you, and it was too. So it doesn't matter if you put the stuff over the cameras. I had to be in there, and you got here before I could get. I was going to hide.
See?
You were right.
Yes.
You ruined it.
I'm sorry.
You ruined it.
I'm sorry.
Oh, well, that's okay.
Okay.
I'll get you, my pretty. I'll get you. The last time I saw you was at the teen.
The host didn't deny it. He confirmed he'd put cameras there specifically to scare her, and his only complaint was that she'd arrived early and ruined the setup. It doesn't matter if you put the stuff over the cameras. I had to be in there and you got here before I could get. I was going to hide. He finished with, I'll get you, my pretty.
That's not a prank. That's a hidden camera in a woman's private bathroom. Let that sit for a second.
The last time I saw you was at the teen show. Bieber didn't say that as a joke. He said it looking genuinely rattled.
My pants, because you always do that thing where you show all my pants down, and it's really annoying. So I'm gonna, just for you. Back here?
Like someone who just understood something about the industry that nobody had warned him about. Ellen laughed the whole thing off as a harmless prank. But hidden cameras placed inside a private bathroom aren't a prank. That's surveillance. And the audience was handed that moment like it was comedy. Bieber has brought up the pants incident more than once over the years, but he's also said something that cuts deeper than any single moment on set.
I just wanted to be a good example, and it was hard for me being that young and being in the industry and not knowing where to turn, and everyone, telling me they loved me and, just turn their back on you in a second. I just want to protect her, I don't want her to go through anything I went through. I don't wish that upon anybody.
I just wanted to be a good example. And it was hard for me being that young and being in the industry and not knowing where to turn. And everyone telling me they love me and just turning their back on you in a second. I just want to protect her. I don't want her to go through anything I went through. I don't wish that upon anybody. Former staff came forward too, and what they described wasn't just a difficult boss. It was a workplace built entirely on fear. Employees were told never to make eye contact with Ellen in the hallways. Never draw attention to yourself. One staff member put it plainly, we had to walk on eggshells. When we'd be pitching, her snide remarks would be, what am I going to talk to them about? I don't know. I have nothing to say. So we'd write the whole outline for her, and then the guests would walk off feeling like crap. That same staffer went further.
But we had to walk on eggshells with her because when we would be pitching, her snide remarks would be, what am I going to talk to them about? I don't know. I have nothing to say. I don't know. So we would write the whole outline for her, and then the guests would walk off feeling like crap. So it wasn't goodwill for the show. However, she loved kissing ass with all the celebrities.
She loved kissing up to celebrities, but she really wasn't in a position to interview real people because she couldn't carry a conversation with them. I just did my job and went home. But for the guests, it was bad. They just really were not able to connect with her. And then Joe Rogan weighed in publicly, describing Ellen as mean, which matched everything former staff had already been saying for years. His take was blunt. This is crazy. People found out that Ellen was mean, and all these people came out and said, Ellen's actually, that's wild. She lost everything.
And she really was not in a position to interview the real people because she really couldn't carry a conversation with them. So this is not like bah humbug on my end because I just did my job and went home. But I feel that for the guests, it was bad goodwill for them. They just really were not able to connect with her.
That last part is worth sitting with. She lost everything, not from one bad moment caught on camera, from years of the same behavior, protected by the brand, until enough people stopped staying quiet. She fell apart, disappeared because people found out that this character she was portraying for half an hour on television was not really who she was, but the truth had already leaked out through back channels. A writer named Greg, a buddy who worked on her team, described her as a phenomenon. That's not what you say about a difficult boss having a rough stretch. That's what you say about something controlled, calculated, and completely hidden from view. The rules were never spoken out loud, but every person in that building knew exactly what breaking them would cost. Think about how many people had to hold their silence for nearly 2 decades for that culture to survive. Staff, guests, producers, all of them keeping the same secret. The gap between what America saw on screen and what was happening behind that curtain is what keeps pulling people back to those old clips. Once you hear what former staffers actually said, the reruns hit completely differently. You start watching her face, her laugh, the way she moves through those interviews, and something shifts. Now here's where eagle-eyed viewers noticed something they couldn't ignore. As the show moved into its final seasons, shaky hands started showing up on camera, facial twitches that weren't there in the early years. A visible, undeniable change from the polished version people had watched for so long. The simple explanation is that the workplace scandal broke her publicly. Watching your carefully built image collapse in real time would wear anyone down, and that's a fair point worth saying clearly. But here's what that explanation doesn't fully answer. Stress isn't classified information, and a public scandal isn't some secret crisis. So why would footage of ordinary stress need to be removed with any urgency at all? Nobody has a confirmed diagnosis to point to here, and this part stays firmly in theory territory. But some researchers argue the timing lines up in an uncomfortable way, right around when certain powerful connections appear to have quietly pulled back. When someone spends decades inside a system that protects and provides for them, and that system suddenly withdraws, the effects can surface in ways people don't always expect. Nobody outside her inner circle knows for certain what was happening, but it's the kind of pattern that makes people stop and ask questions. And those questions lead straight to Sound of Freedom, because the media's reaction to that film says everything. The movie wasn't built on speculation or internet theories. It was based on real anti-trafficking operations and real children who were rescued. Jim Caviezel called it, undoubtedly the best film I have done since The Passion of the Christ, and said the experience left audiences unable to leave their seats with their hearts on fire and a genuine urge to do something. He said that impulse is exactly why he was called into this business. When the film released, major outlets didn't celebrate it. They called it dangerous. They called it fringe. One review didn't just pan the film, it mocked the people who showed up to watch it. A movie about children being rescued from traffickers got framed as something you should feel stupid for buying a ticket to. That's not a critique, that's a signal. Here's what makes that framing harder to ignore. Some of those same outlets had spent years writing favorably about real anti-trafficking raids. They covered that world in a positive light, right up until a film started connecting those same networks to people with serious money and serious power. Then the tone shifted overnight. Mel Gibson has said publicly that Hollywood runs on survival, not creativity, that the industry's first instinct is to protect itself. He's not the only one who's noticed, but he's one of the few willing to say it out loud. The real story was never about the film being dangerous. It was about who felt exposed by its success and how fast a coordinated response can move once someone powerful gets uncomfortable.
That movie still crossed $100 million at the box office, built on a budget that was a fraction of that number.
After years of being sidelined, delayed, and quietly pushed away. That's not a footnote. That's millions of ordinary people deciding to find it themselves. So here's where it all lands. Clips are vanishing. Copyright claims are hitting footage that sat completely untouched for years, and the timing keeps lining up with moments that make certain people nervous. Caviezel's argument is straightforward, and it's worth saying clearly. Deleted footage is not proof that nothing happened. It's proof that someone decided you shouldn't have easy access to it anymore. None of this on its own proves a single specific claim, but it connects to things that are already in the public record, things you can pull up yourself. The unsealed Epstein files, Diddy's federal conviction, years of survivor testimony that took far too long to be taken seriously. These aren't theories, they're documented facts. Caviezel walked into an industry that wanted him quiet. He got labeled a conspiracy theorist, got shut out, and kept talking anyway. Whatever you think about the specifics of what he's claimed, that part isn't debatable. It happened in public, on camera, in front of audiences. That record exists, and that's really the split you have to make as a viewer. Some of what's in this video is checkable fact. Court documents, box office numbers, live on-air moments that thousands of people witnessed in real time. Other parts are theory, built by people connecting timelines and asking uncomfortable questions. Both deserve to be treated honestly. Neither should get waved off just because the subject makes someone squirm. So the question this video really leaves you with isn't whether every single theory here holds up. It's much simpler than that. If there was genuinely nothing worth hiding, why does someone keep working this hard to make sure you can't see it? So what do you think? Is Diddy scrubbing his past because there's something real to hide? Or is the internet just chasing shadows? Drop a comment and tell me which clip in this video hit different for you. I read every single one. If this kind of story is your thing, subscribe, because we go deep on the moments hip-hop doesn't want you to remember. See you in the next one.